Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set,
just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
Finally, Clemson Sports Talk has come back to Columbia. Hello, everybody. Lawton Swan back at it once again here, 316 Greystone Boulevard. Fast-paced and action-packed. Hurry up at No Huddle Sports Talk programming for you. Fox Sports Radio 1400 in the Midlands, around the world on the iHeart radio application. Download it today, absolutely free. The Clemson Sports Talk app, also free. The opinions, henceforth here on the program given this evening, they will be free to you. 803-978-1832. That's your number tonight, 803-978-1832. Text the program thanks to our good friends at the Caribbean Resort and Villas over in sunny, funny Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That text line number, 803-450-0086, 803-450-0086. That's the way you can be a part of this program via the text line. We'd love to have you text in. You can also ride the Wave with us. That's right, the Wave app, WAVVE. Really like it. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, I'm showing you the graphic from the Wave app. What's great about it is a great way for you to interact with us on the program. It's a great way for you to share with us and talk with us, not only Clemson Sports Talk, but also our man Reynolds in the morning, J-Rock, Fox Sports Radio 1400, 6 to 9. And in the upstate on Fox Sports Radio 1440 from 6 to 9 a.m. So, yeah, pretty neat application, a great way to engage. We hope you will jump on board and be a part of the program on Wave, get the Clemson Sports Talk app again, and perhaps pick up the Pokemon Go app. I find it disconcerting to some degree that my man, Lowell, Lowell the intern, hasn't been here basically since the inception of Pokemon Go. I don't know if there's any truth to the rumors out there on social media that that's where Lowell the intern has been, but nonetheless, he's in the building today. He'll be here on Friday as well, as his new schedule's getting all squared away. But without further ado, you follow this man on Twitter because he's doing fantastic things. He is at Lowell the intern. His hat is in the building today as well on the anniversary of the hat becoming a part of the program. And my man sitting across from me, Lowell, what's going on, brother?
Well, first of all, I just have to say, bada boom, realest guys in the room. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you been?
I'm good. Also, there is no truth to the Pokemon Go rumors. I had it for about one day, then got rid of it once I found out that Google has access to basically all of your accounts through Pokemon Go. So I'm not cool with that, so I got rid of it.
Is that accurate?
It is.
Yeah, really?
Yep. They can go through your emails.
No. Where'd you find that? What is that? Have you snoped that yet? Have you snoped that?
I have not. I usually do, but I've seen a couple different articles out there, enough to make me think that there might be something to it. I'm not the big conspiracy theory type, but it does ask you for a lot of access to your accounts and stuff when you download the game, so it's a little skeptical about that.
I like the fact that you say you're not a conspiracy theorist type, but yet immediately you throw out a conspiracy theory about Pokemon Go.
I can Snopes it right now if you want me to.
I would love you to Snopes it right now because my son and I were out capturing some Pokemons earlier today. My daughter, it's funny, she actually got scared about the Pokemon. Like, she was afraid they were actually out there. And I was like, listen, Bryn, it's not a real thing. These are now, she's only 4. She's not 14, guys. So don't think that my daughter's that naive. She just doesn't quite understand the concept behind Pokemon. And quite frankly, I don't either. But I wanted to see what it was about. So you're telling me I need to delete it. You're telling me that Google, Lowell, according to you, is now... Google has my email anyway. I have a Gmail account. Don't they already have access to my email? What more could they possibly be getting from me? The wonderful text messages that you and executive producer Rob Sanders so eloquently pieced together to throw my way on the regular? I mean, is that what my concern should be? 803-978-1832. Lowell, how you doing over there snoping it up, brother?
There is a Snopes article talking about the data that third parties can access through the Pokemon Go account, so I'm reading through it right now.
All right, so Lowell's going to keep us updated on that, make sure we are well aware. 803-978-1832, quite popular today out in Houston, apparently. Can't wait to find out what we got going on and cooking on that front. But nonetheless, here we are on Clemson Sports Talk today, another day down at the SEC Media Days. We've got a whole lot to get into this evening with you. But we begin with some tragic news out of Tigertown. Former Clemson Tiger starting point guard DeMontez Stitt passed away, unfortunately, at the age of 27 yesterday evening. The news sort of broke late last night. I got up to that news, continued to sort of take a look around and see what we could figure out. And a lot of the sites that were initially reporting it were from overseas, as DeMontez had been playing overseas for quite some time. But yes, unfortunately, the news that we all heard, and if you have the Clemson Sports Talk app, you got the notification about 7 o'clock. I try not to drop any notifications to you in a decent window of sleep opportunity for most of you, but I felt like about 7 o'clock it was just about time to let that news out of the bag. And yeah, DeMontez Stitt, who played for Clemson from 2007 through 2011, the only Clemson Tiger player to start on 4 NCAA tournament teams, passed away at the age of 27. Some irony, I think, as well, to perhaps his last tweet that he ever had here on planet Earth. And DeMontez Stitt's last tweet was, "Thank you, Lord," with an exclamation point. So Stitt had not been without some issues off the court. There had been some issues and speculation of some drugs and stuff in the past during his time playing overseas. But for the most part, DeMontez Stitt, a stellar resume in Tigertown. And again, such a remarkable young man when you go back and look at that team or the teams that he played on in Clemson and really reflect on his leadership of those teams. And when I saw some of the highlights and some of the big moments from his time there in Tigertown, one of my biggest takeaways as a fan of college basketball was just noticing how much better your team can be when you have I don't want to call him, because it's not fair to other guys on the team or on the teams now, but a real leader. But when you have a guy that's really out in front on leadership and can sort of take that role defensively and just be a stopper for you, it's a powerful thing. And quite frankly, if you look at Brad Brownell and his tenure at Clemson, I would make the argument that outside of when DeMontez Stitt was there for his senior year, I don't know that we've really had that defensive-minded point guard who could also get to the basket and create, really, maybe even more so just a leader on the floor. And that's the thing I remember most. From all the great plays, the steals, the big shots he hit, I just remember a leader for Clemson Tiger basketball. We'll talk to his former teammate who was a year behind him there at Clemson, Tanner Smith, coming up at 7:05, I believe, 7:05 this evening. We've got Tanner Smith lined up to be a part of the program. You got some great memories of DeMontez Stitt. We'd love to hear from you here on the program tonight. 803-978-1832. And Lowell, you're now at the point, you're at 23, and listen, death does not discriminate amongst the age, that's for sure. And 27 years is a blink of an eye, but you will find more quickly, and you've been a part of this program with the deaths of Devin Gray, you've been a part of this program with the deaths of Chris Hobbs. You'll find more and more, though, that unfortunately people are going to pass away that are young. And, man, 27 years of age, it was quite a shock this morning when I finally, recognized that this was not just a rumor. This was an actual fact in terms of DeMontez Stitt passing away.
Yeah, and this one, I think, hits me maybe a little harder than the other ones that we've gone through on the program, because some of these guys I didn't personally watch play.
Right.
DeMontez Stitt was a guy that I followed for a long time, and I kept up with him outside of Clemson after he went overseas. I kept up with his career. He was one of my favorite players. He really was. I loved watching him play. I mean, I've met him before now, not like went out to lunch with him, but I met him before, and he was very nice. And
yeah,
it's I don't know. This one really, really bothers me. Just really out of left field, out of nowhere. And I think those are the ones that really affect people the most. You're talking about his leadership. I remember as a freshman, two different examples. Number one, the beginning of his freshman year when Clemson played Mississippi State, I think it was, he hit 6 free throws in the last minute of the game to close out that game.
As a freshman, yeah.
And then against Virginia Tech, the last regular season game of the year, they had been pretty bad shooting free throws that whole game, as has been the case forever with Clemson basketball. Clemson's down 1 point. DeMontez Stitt draws a foul, knocks down 2 free throws to win the game against Virginia Tech.
Well,
freshman.
And look, I think it's funny that you point to those moments, but every Clemson Tiger fan knows how lackluster Clemson has been historically at the free throw line. And when you saw a guy who was that young and that confident in those moments hit those free throws, it's funny because I can almost remember watching those same shots because it's always caught up to Clemson. The free throw line has always caught up to Clemson. And it always seemed like when people went to the line, their knees were knocking, they weren't confident. DeMontez Stitt went to the line like an assassin and knew that he was going to make the shots and was confident. And 9 times out of 10, well, I don't know if it's that frequently, but I feel like 7 to 8 times out of 10, confidence with a free throw is half the battle. Just believing you're going to make the shot is half the battle and not getting caught up in the moment. But again, the tragic news today that DeMontez Stitt passed away. The other thing that sort of went through my mind about this, and I'm a basketball player. I've always been a basketball player. I was never a football player. And I know you play a lot more basketball, and I don't even know if you ever put a helmet on in your life or shoulder pads, but it doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there. I'm often struck at how frequently this type of situation seems to, and I don't have any empirical data in front of me here to knock this out, but it seems to trend towards basketball players more than football players. Now, I have a couple of theories on that. One is that large individuals, which DeMontez Stitt was not. He's not a 7-footer. But a lot of time, large individuals will have had some sort of pituitary disorder. They will have some sort of other issue that may have led to their organs perhaps not being, I hate to say up to par, but that's the best terminology I can come up with. Having a guy DeMontez Stitt size have a heart attack and die. And he was playing overseas. He averaged over 19 points per game overseas this past season. I mean, this is not a kid who played his college basketball days and then sat around and ate bacon and Cheetos and drank Mountain Dew all day long. I mean, this was a guy who was physically still at the top of his game, very sharp. He appeared healthy, looked healthy by all accounts. You look at him on social media. I mean, this is not a guy that you look at yesterday and think, you know what, DeMontez Stitt's not going to be here tomorrow. But again, death does not discriminate. Neither do things like heart conditions and heart attacks. And again, a lot of these things go unnoticed. People have valve issues that they just don't know about. It's one of the reasons I've always been a proponent for the NCAA and college football and college basketball and college sports in general, whether it's MRIs, whatever's necessary, and a cardiologist could tell you, whatever's necessary to take a look at these guys and see if you can find some of those things. The casual individual walking around 9 to 5, working his day job, probably is never going to, one, have the luxury to afford just going in for the old heart scan or whatever they do to find out if there's something going on or if there's anything. Like, if you had an enlarged heart, I don't know if they can do anything outside of maybe giving you some medicine for it. But you would think that along the way, much like a physical when you were in 7th grade where you had to, turn and cough a little bit for the doctor, there would be something out there with and I don't want to call it an alarming rate. Listen, it's not a wrestler death rate. Okay? Wrestlers die at an alarming rate. Athletes, basketball players, football players, they die at a concerning rate for me from heart conditions. And I don't know if it's supplements that they've taken along the way. I don't know if it's all of the time that they've put in and worked their heart. There's just the constant working of that muscle their entire life that leads to things like this at the age of 27. But this was the most surprising. Gaines Adams dies. He's a big guy. And big guys typically, a lot of times, will have a heart condition. It's an unfortunate side of being a large individual. Somebody like DeMontez Stitt, that's out of the blue. Really shocking. 803-978-1832. Would you agree, though, Lowell, we see this? It feels like more often from basketball players than football players.
Yeah, well, to an extent, because I think you've got football players are on average, I imagine, have to be bigger than basketball players. So I think you do see it a lot with football players as well. But yeah, when you have the big, tall, 6'10", 6'11", 7-foot guys who have never been tested for a heart condition in their life, then yeah, when it happens to them, your first thought is probably he had some kind of heart condition when you hear that they died.
Sure.
With this, I mean, I don't want to speculate on what might have happened to DeMontez Stitt, but I mean, I don't know what to think.
Sure.
With a guy like this when he dies out of the blue.
And look, that is absolutely fair. It's absolutely fair for you to say that. I mean, there's no question that when you look at the situation with DeMontez Stitt, there would seem to be, from afar, red flags because you believe he's healthy, because he's normal sized. And that's absolutely fair. You shouldn't feel bad about that, Lowell, because 7 out of 10 times when somebody that's 27, his size passes away, there's something else. Len Bias didn't pass away because of a heart condition. You go back and he was using drugs at the time. He was using crack cocaine at the time. So you're absolutely right. I mean, it does raise some red flags. I'm not trying to insinuate anything either. You hate that for the family, though. You absolutely hate that for the family. 803-978-1832. Clemson Craig wants to know what's wrong with eating bacon, Cheetos, and drinking Mountain Dew all day. I don't know. My gallbladder over at Lexington Medical Center could probably give you a heads up on what that might do to you. I can't guarantee it'll do it to you, but it might. Coming up on the program here on Clemson Sports Talk tonight, we got a whole lot more to get into. Don't forget, 7:05, we'll be joined by former Clemson Tiger Tanner Smith. But when we get back, man, the SEC Media Days are heating up, and so is the heat on the SEC because of how they've handled suspensions off the field. We're back in 3. Stay with us.
Our customers receive the best heating and air conditioning service in South Carolina. Hi, I'm Tim Mosley, and I can make that statement because that's what our customers tell us every day. We call it quality confirmed. Call us at 803-233-7172, and we'll call you when the job is done to confirm we met your expectations. That's quality confirmed. We're Carolina Conditions, and we're committed to meeting your expectations. 803-233-7172. Call us at 803-233-7172.
When a stroke happens, every second counts. So don't drive and call 911 to get to the emergency department as soon as possible. At Lexington Medical Center, we're pleased to serve our community. As a certified primary stroke center, our acute stroke team rapidly evaluates patients and provides them with the fastest treatment possible. This specialized care limits the chance of brain damage and gives stroke patients a better chance of full recovery. Act quickly at the first sign of a stroke and count on the Stroke Center at Lexington Medical Center to provide you with the best possible care.
Listen up, amigos. Little Caesar's Large Hot and Ready Classic is just $5 Monday through Sunday. Other pizza deals are only available Monday through Thursday. I'll smash a foldable chair over 'em and bust them in half, son! Little Caesar's has no strings attached. Those other pizza deals make you buy 2 or more items, and I'll smash them up! Think I'll run out of chairs to smash? I own the Chair Factory and all of its subsidiaries, boy!
Get a large hot and ready pepperoni pizza for just $5 every single day, only at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
At participating locations plus tax.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show now at 978-1832 or text 803-450-0086.
Oh, yeah, laid back and mellow. You know, when he's in the building, they call him the chairman of the board. He's Lowell, the intern, because he's running the board over there for us, the main man operating it up for you. 803-978-1832. The hashtag on Twitter, CST Show, at Clemson Sports. Get the free Clemson Sports Talk app. Lowell, when's the Lowell, the intern app coming out? I've been waiting on that, man. I've been searching the App Store for it. You got to get some kind of app out there to the people. Just The Rock's got an app that's waking up with The Rock, right? Can we not get the waking up with the intern app going?
The Rock Clock.
Yeah.
Got to be something involving the hat. Maybe it'll be like a fashion app involving hats.
Oh, right. So you take a selfie and then you try on different hats.
There we go.
It'll be called the Hat the Intern app.
There we go. That works.
How'd I do?
I like that.
Okay, good. All right, so let me tell you what's not good right now, Lowell. That is the criticism of the SEC and the coaching staffs out there. Yesterday on the program, our man William Qualkenbush, Out of Bounds with Qualt 105.5 The Roar, came on and joined us. He took a little shot at the SEC. And, you know, when you continue to see these players in the Southeastern Conference having issues off the field, and Gamecocks, by the way, I know you're out there. I know you're peeking over the fence. I know you love your conference. That's great. I also want to commend you, though, South Carolina, for not having a whole lot of issues off the field. Let's face it. For 2 Power 5 programs right now, Clemson and South Carolina have been fairly devoid of major off-the-field incidences for their players. Sporadic here and there. Yeah. Sporadic here and there. But nothing that's really moved the meter nationally. Some timing issues. I want you to think about this for a second, Lowell, before we talk about the fact that Dan Mullen's got a player on his team that's going to start the opener who was punching a girl in the face while she was down on the ground. That's number one. Before we mention that Nick Saban's got a couple of guys, Cam Robinson being one of those, who's going to be starting against Southern Cal, who were arrested in the offseason with marijuana and a gun in their vehicle. We could go on and on. Do I need to continue down the list? And Kirby Smart, fair or unfair, sitting there over in Athens, I believe he's had 8 arrests since he's taken over that program. So he's working through some things right now, and I'm not going to criticize him because some of his guys have been suspended. Gus Malzahn came out earlier in the week. He had 4 guys who were arrested for marijuana. Not going to suspend those guys. On Monday, I said I would be in favor of legislation from the NCAA that just said, hey, off-season arrest, 1-game suspension. Nick Saban got fired up today at Paul Feinbaum because Feinbaum couldn't believe that Cam Robinson was not going to be suspended. What's the other What's the other kid's name who's also involved in that, Lowell? I don't know that I have it right in front of me, so I don't want to call the wrong name here.
Hootie Jones.
Okay. Whenever I think of that, I think of Hootie Johnson, who was the former head of the Masters. That's why I can't keep those two straight. So Cam Robinson, Hootie Jones, those two guys are both going to be able to play in the opener. But here's the thing, okay? Clemson was heading into the national semifinals this past football season. Heading into a game against Oklahoma, a team that a lot of people didn't think Clemson could beat. Even though Clemson had handled them the previous year in the Russell Athletic Bowl, people did not buy into Clemson beating Oklahoma nationally. You Tiger fans, you saw it. You felt it. A lot of Gamecock fans that had seen Clemson thought, you know what, this is a pretty good Tiger football team. Not all of you, but some of you. People who knew Clemson's program, I think, felt pretty good about Clemson against Oklahoma. Not members of the media, not people in the Big 12, certainly not the Oklahoma players or the coaching staff or the fans. Dabo Swinney, prior to the semifinal, suspends Deion Kane. Not for the national semifinal game, Lowell, but also the national championship game. 2 games, and then further into the spring. Let me ask you, Lowell. Let me ask you something. Was Deion Kane arrested, as you are aware, at any point down in Miami, Florida, in preparation for the Orange Bowl?
Not that I know of.
So there was no arrest. There was no police officer pulling him over. There was simply, he's not meeting the standards that we believe in. We're sending him home. Is that the way you saw that incident playing out?
Yes. Now, in fairness, I feel like we do have to mention this was not Deion Kane's first issue with the Clemson football team.
But not an arrest.
It was not an arrest.
These coaches have had players, again, arrested. Yet their discipline is being handled internally with no game suspensions. Pat Forty ripped the SEC a brand new rear end. It was incredible. Just diving into everything that you can trust on the SEC coaches doing. And the top thing is being soft on disciplining misbehaving players. 803-978-1832. Lowell, here's the thing. Coaches have to win games. They need to win games. Their livelihood revolves on winning games. And because of that fact, coaches, a majority of them, especially coaches potentially on their hot seats like Dan Mullen and Gus Malzahn, those are guys who are going to do everything in their power to get big-time players on the field. They have to win. They are accountable to their fans to win. And if they lose their jobs. So coaches are going to do everything they can, and I hate to say coaches because there are a lot that don't, but the majority of coaches are going to do everything they can to get their players out on the field. They're going to try and find a compelling reason. They're going to try and find a factoid. They're going to talk about how they're trying to make these individuals better men. They're trying to do what they can to help this young man. Dan Mullen really stuck his foot in his mouth because he was asked by a reporter later on about the situation with Jeffrey Simmons, a 5-star defensive lineman who was punching a female victim in the face while she's on the ground. Basically was asked, what if that was your wife or daughter? And here comes the genius of Dan Mullen for a minute here, Lowell. Buckle your seatbelt, ladies and gentlemen. Mullen goes all, I don't think my wife and daughter would ever put themselves or find themselves in a situation like that.
No, he did not.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about this.
Yeah. My wife and daughter wouldn't find themselves in a situation like that. I mean, listen, that's the ignorance of Dan Mullen at SEC Media Days. 803-978-1832. But Sweeney, and again, this is not about what Clemson did and what they're not doing. It's just an example. This is the national semifinal in the national championship game. And at that point in the season, I know, Lowell the intern, you're going to tell me and you're going to try and sway me that Renfro was the downfield go-to guy for Deshaun Watson. And he played the game well. I like some Hunter Renfro. But Deion Kane had really established himself. And there was a rapport between he and Deshaun Watson. And Dabo Swinney said, you know what? Messing around off the field, you're not worthy of being on the field in the semifinals or the national championship, and you got to fight your way back in the spring. These other guys in the SEC, not a big deal. They're going to play in game 1. We're back in 3.
How would you like to get up in the morning and walk into your kitchen or bathroom and that immediately starts your day off right? Or maybe you've come home from work to a kitchen or a bathroom that ends your day in perfection. This is possible. I'm Terry Nation, owner of Nation Custom Builders, and I can take all those ideas you've had and make them come to life. Pure perfection. Let's go over those ideas and dreams you've had for free. No complication, no frustration, no aggravation. You're backed by a nation. Give us a call, 807-8140.
Love it raw? For the freshest sushi in town, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, 807 Gervais Street in the Vista. Sakatumi's flavorful grill for non-sushi fans features the Kobe burger, filet and lobster, chicken hibachi, and more. Fresh sushi, flavorful grill, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, sakifresh.com.
Attention, anyone who's suffering from lower back pain. Right now, HealthSource is offering our listeners an absolutely free back pain consultation on a first-come, first-served basis by calling 803-218-9047. Our doctors can find the root cause of your lower back pain and show you how to get well fast and stay well longer. No more pain. No more feeling worn out. Essentially, no more not feeling like yourself. Call 803-218-9047.
From the Red Shirt guys at Wade Color Roofing, the temperatures stay warm. Overnight tonight, we dip only to the mid-70s. Tomorrow, sunny and hot again, highs around 100, with just a few scattered late-day storms. For Channel 25, ABC Columbia, I'm Chief Meteorologist John Farley.
This report is brought to you by the National Kidney Foundation.
Donate your old car, truck, or van to the National Kidney Foundation. It's tax deductible and will help fund research for kidney disease. Just
call 1-800-488-CARS, the Kidney Cars Program.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at clemsonsportstalk.com.
Oh, yeah, Clemson Sports Talk, 803-978-1832. Not only are we live on the iHeart Radio app and on Fox Sports Radio 1400 in the Midlands, crystal clear, high definition, 720p on YouTube as well. And I got to say, Lowell, today you've got the coif going on, brother. You're looking quite manicured, it appears to me. You have made it into the salon to get taken care of there. It looks like you got the chinny chin all shaved up just a little bit, but the hair game, hashtag on point, my brother.
You know, I don't really look for anything specific when I go get my hair cut. I just don't want my hair to be all the way in front of my face anymore. So I'm happy with my haircut. Not doing that anymore. How
do you describe your haircut? Because when I still got haircuts, well, I get them. I give them to myself now. But when I walked in, I used to say, hey, give me a number 2 on the sides and trim the top. I mean, that was how I ordered it.
I just say short on the sides, cut the bangs, whatever.
Make me look good.
Yep.
There you go.
I don't know all the lingo for hair.
I can give you some lingo. I know the bald fade. I mean, I can give you some stuff here. I've done some research on it. If you go to my YouTube, not my personal like Clemson Sports YouTube channel, but you know how your YouTube subscribes or suggests things for you to watch based on your watch history? Mine is always haircuts. It's always suggesting haircuts. So,
do you get a bunch of like Google ads for like hair places?
No,
you don't get those.
No, but you know what I am getting a lot of ads for right now? Yesterday was Prime Day for Amazon. Do you know about that?
Amazon Prime?
Well, yeah, but it's Prime Day.
Oh, no, I don't know what that is. No.
Okay, so last year was the first ever Prime Day, Amazon's 20th anniversary. And so Amazon gives unbelievable deals on things. I mean, incredible deals. They just, like, let's say your hat over there on its anniversary. We'll talk about your hat for a minute. Let's say your hat costs $250 on the regular. Regular day-to-day operations, we're talking $250 as Lowell the intern inspects the hat for all to see. All right, so your hat, let's say it costs $250. Amazon will have that hat on Prime Day, not for $125, not for 50% off, but like 75% off. Killer deals. It's incredible deals yesterday. So I went on there and I was perusing, looking around. And this is the thing that's a little bit creepy. You talk about Pokemon Go kind of snooping on you. Just your web browser in general sort of snooping on you. So I went and looked for, and I don't care. Look, I don't care if they want to keep throwing things up in my face that I'm going to want. It happened all the time when I was a kid, right? Like when I was little and I wanted to get that new NBA Live 95 for the whatever device I was playing Live 95 on, maybe a PlayStation. Every time I saw it in the store or a commercial for it, I'd want it. So there's no real difference if it's right there on my sidebar of a computer. Prime Day, they had the new Segway. Have you seen the new Segway? It's the smaller Segway. It's not one where you hold on with the grips. You know the thing the kids bought that the kids drive around on, the hoverboards?
Yeah.
Imagine a nicer hoverboard, but with like a knee plate where you kind of put your knees on it and you steer it with your knees when you're driving.
Does it explode?
No. And it self-balances.
Okay.
You don't have to. You've seen these people riding these things?
I've stayed away from them just because they explode.
This thing was on sale for $699. It's normally $1,300, something like that. So it's like half off. I've been looking for like a golf cart or something up at Clemson. The thing that holds me down the most up in Tigertown, Lowell, to kind of get the word out about Clemson Sports Talk is the amount of time it takes me to walk from my tailgate spot to other people's spots. And have you looked at the price of a golf cart? By the way, if you're listening to the program and you're a golf cart dealer and you want to do a sponsorship or something, man, I'll ride around and tell them all about your golf cart dealership. We'll get that thing wrapped, hookabrotherup.com. Help me out a little bit. I looked at that thing. It'll go 10 miles an hour. It'll ride for 12 or 14 miles. I thought, man, maybe this is my new way to get around Clemson. I passed on it. If it were $299, I would have gotten it. No question. I couldn't pull that trick. I don't make that kind of money, Lowell, as you are aware. But I've seen ads about that the whole time since I looked at it. 803-978-1832. The man has been holding for a while. He's a good listener, a loyal listener to the program. As a matter of fact, I owe him a phone call back after the program, if you can believe that, because I actually heard from him yesterday and did not get back with him because I was so busy. But I'm going to get back with him tonight. Speedy, what's up, man?
That's all right, man, brother. How you doing, Swanee? You forgiven? I know you was sitting down there, pretty much going with talking to the Hillary supporters and everything. I kind of forgive you because I know Bernie's was trying to get you to jump on that bandwagon with Hillary, but it's all good, brother. It's one thing I get to worry about, Swanee. Two things I have to worry about.
Yeah.
There will never be a Clemson fan will ever sleep with a Gamecock fan, unless, that could be something different. But you will never see a Clemson fan.
Did you say sneak or sleep?
No, sleep. No, but so you would never see a Clemson fan change his colors. Okay? Just about as much as you will never see a white conservative male vote for Hillary. So I ain't worrying about that. I know you're on my side, brother. So I'm voting for the rich white fella, Donald Trump. That's what I'm voting for. But yeah, I'm keeping it real. I'm as real as I can get. I can't get no real than that. But yeah, I'm excited. We about 49 days for kickoff, Swanee. I just hope, Carolina fans, we kind of a little sore. We still haven't got over our medicine.
Yeah.
Losing Citadel twice. We're going to be hearing that in our face until I die. So, but if we could overcome that this year, get out there, support Will Muschamp, and see how he would do it. I'm telling you, Swanee, I said it again. We're going to win 8 wins. Out of those 2 wins, it's going to be Florida and Clemson, especially Clemson. So once we beat Clemson at home, Swanee, I have to come on the show. You got to invite me on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys beat Clemson. Absolutely. The microphone. Lowell, you agree, right? If Speedy's right and the Gamecocks beat Clemson, Speedy should come in studio.
Oh, come on in.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and I just want to throw that out there to you. Swanee, I sit there and watch this. I really used to love to get in watching the All-Star game in baseball. I just lost interest in it.
Yeah.
I think it's a watered down thing. I think it's probably worse than the Pro Bowl. The NBA do a lot more better marketing. I just think that the Major League Baseball All-Star used to be one of the most exciting things you could watch. But now I think that they don't do a lot more marketing with the players that they used to do.
Yeah.
Their whole PR marketing is atrocious, man. It's just terrible.
Hey, Speedy, let me ask you something, buddy, real quick, because we gotta get out of here. Let me ask you something. We'll do that if South Carolina beats Clemson. You can come in studio. But here's my question for you. Do you still get your hair cut at like a barbershop? Do you still go to a barbershop?
Yes.
Okay. I want to know the next time you're getting your hair cut because I want to go and hear you talk about your political views in front of everybody hanging out with you. I want to see how that goes over. Yeah. I got a feeling it might not go over so well.
Oh, yeah. And it went over last weekend, man.
I hear you, man. All right, Speedy, be good. Be good. Be good. 803-978-1832. I tell you what, man, he's a ball of fire. He's buying into this Will Muschamp. Now, Will Muschamp, Gamecock fans, he'll be speaking tomorrow. He'll be speaking tomorrow at SEC Media Day, so I'll be looking forward to that. Lowell, we mentioned before the break a few minutes ago about Dan Mullen and his comments. The exact comments were Mullen was asked about what if it were your wife or daughter, that being the person who was down on the ground being punched by your own football player, Jeffrey Simmons, 5-star defensive tackle. Mullen's response to that, and I quote, was, "I don't think my family would be in that situation."
Shameful.
Yeah.
It's a shameful answer.
It's an embarrassing answer. We're back in 3. Stay with us.
We invite you to come visit the Caribbean Resort along the shores of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Gaze upon breathtaking views of the Atlantic Ocean from one of the Caribbean Resort's exquisite accommodations. With an array of sizes and layouts to choose from, and designed with all the comforts of home, guests can bask in the sun on our expansive oceanfront pool deck, take a dip in any of our indoor and outdoor water amenities, and race down our oceanfront water slide. The Caribbean Resort has everything you need, so book your next vacation today.
Hey guys, Lawton Swan here. I was hanging out in the backyard with my son Mason the other day, and he said, "Dad, you're the best father ever." I was like, "What makes you say that, son?" He said, "When I go outside to play now, I don't get eaten up by the bugs anymore." Imagine that, me, a hero, when all I did was just a couple of weeks ago call Trey Powell at Mosquito Joe with their routine service plan. No more bugs and no more bites. Make yourself the family hero. Call Mosquito Joe today, 803-223-7916. Outside is fun again.
Tiger fans, look no further than the Tiger Sports Shop in Clemson for all your game day gear. Since 1974, they've brought you everything Clemson for the Clemson fan. With quality brand names such as Nike, Under Armour, Antigua, Ping, and many more. From hats to t-shirts to tailgate, the Tiger Sports Shop has all the Clemson apparel a true Tiger fan needs. With 2 convenient game day locations in Tigertown, shop where I shop at I Am Ibrahim's Tiger Sports Shop. They fuel the passion of Tiger fans everywhere. Check them out online, tigersports.com.
Stay on top of today's pop culture. Ace and TJ Mornings and today's hit music all day on 104.7 WNOK.
Oh, yeah, Carolina girls, 803-978-1832. Speedy boy, he's a diehard. He is a diehard Gamecock. He's got the Gamecocks winning 8 games. He will not let us forget it. I promise you, if they beat Clemson, now was the stipulation if they beat Clemson and win 8 games or just beat Clemson? Lowell, have we put Speedy in studio at that type of risk already?
You know what? Even if they don't win 8 games, if they beat Clemson, I think he should still be able to come in.
Really?
Yep.
Really? Do we have to turn his mic on? That's the other part.
I think so. I think we
probably
have to do
we got to give him.
Although he could probably sit over there and just talk, and our mics would probably pick him up anyway.
Yeah, it might pick him up a little bit. Yeah, that's a good point. 803-978-1832. Again, coming up on the program, we'll be joined by Tanner Smith at 7:05. Tanner, of course, playing 3 years with DeMonte Stitt up at Clemson. Stitt tragically passing away at the age of 27 yesterday evening. The news breaking earlier today. We put it out to you at 7 o'clock on the Clemson Sports Talk application. Pause the mic says that we have a better chance for the state. He has a better chance for the state of South Carolina to give him some beach property than for Speedy to come in studio with us this year. He's feeling the Tigers flow. Lowell, I mentioned for the break with Will Muschamp going to SEC Media Days tomorrow. One of the things that's sort of been absent from SEC Media Days so far is really not the spectacle of Nick Saban, because, and I did say spectacle, I want to make sure you guys understand that, the spectacle of Nick Saban, because there is certainly that. I mean, the Alabama fans come out, right? I mean, that's their deal. I'm assuming a lot of these guys haven't been to football games in Bryant-Denny Stadium, but they go to SEC Media Days. They want to see Nick Saban. Steve Spurrier, Lowell, for many years, was sort of the influential mic guy at SEC Media Days, dropping some knowledge, dropping some quotables. I don't feel like Will Muschamp is going to be that guy, and I know he's been there before in his time at Florida. But is there anything specifically from Will Muschamp, Lowell, that you're anxious to hear, or is there anything? It feels like this is going to be, for the first time in well over a decade, that as South Carolina goes into the SEC Media Days, not that there's not going to be buzz about South Carolina, because there is a lot of kind of laissez-faire, laid-back approach to what their season might be. I saw where several members of the media actually picked them to finish last. Now, the actual vote, I believe, takes place tomorrow, but had them tabbed to finish last in the SEC behind Vanderbilt in the East. I don't know if that'll happen or not. But doesn't it feel like without Steve Spurrier that this is a less than exciting SEC Media Days for Gamecock fans, perhaps?
Somebody just needs to make Muschamp angry. That's what needs to happen. Someone needs to make him angry.
It's a great point.
And then I think you will get some entertainment out of Media Days.
Fire him up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, fire him up a little bit. That that would do it. Is there anything that he could address, though, that you would say, you know what, I kind of want to know that about South Carolina this year? I mean, for me, the starting quarterback position for the Gamecocks is a big deal right now. You know, who comes in and finally sort of – and this is not something that's just for South Carolina this year. You look at Alabama. They got a couple of guys battling for the starting spot there. And you know, you look at the SEC right now, as great as that league is, boy, it quickly got devoid of quarterback talent, didn't it? I mean, it really got devoid of quarterback talent. Outside of Josh Dobbs right now, there's not really a star. And just a couple of years ago when you looked around the league, you had guys like, and again, not a big flashy name, like a Greg McElroy in the conference. You had Aaron Murray at Georgia. You had Zach Mettenberger down at LSU. I mean, you had some names. You had some guys that were potentially going to play at the next level. And right now in the SEC, there's no Dak Prescott out there. There's no big-time star at quarterback. You look at the ACC, you go Watson, you go Kaya. I mean, you can start to kind of dive into the Atlantic Coast Conference and go, hey, you know what? There's some quarterbacks in that conference. I don't think Sean McGuire is going to be one. It's part of the reason I would go on the record right now and say Clemson's going to beat Florida State in Tallahassee. I just, if at that point in the season it's not Sean McGuire, then maybe. I don't see McGuire beating Clemson. But would you agree that right now at quarterback, or the quarterback position for South Carolina, is the one thing that I'm kind of looking forward to hearing, because you don't really know. Is it going to be Brandon McElwain? Are they going to be willing to roll with him as their starter? Because I watched the spring game, okay? I watched the spring game. And I know it was nice that he had a touchdown run in that game, but there was a holding call on the play that they overturned to allow him to score. I want to see, or hear, I should say, what Will Muschamp has to say about the starting quarterback position, how far along he feels like these guys are. You know, and that's for me. Losing Sky Moore is big. I mean, that's a tremendous loss. I went through a list yesterday. Sports Illustrated put out their top 100 players. And I made the argument, you know, if Sky Moore's playing at South Carolina right now, he's probably in that top 100. I don't know that he's above 85, but I think he's probably in there. I mean, he's been a playmaker for the Gamecocks since the day he stepped on campus. Without him, they don't have a player right now recognized inside the top 100. And for me, if you're going to win football games this season and you're a Gamecock, if you're going to get to that 8 wins like Speedy expects, you got to have stellar quarterback play. That's where the turnaround really started for Clemson. That's when, you know, Taj Boyd sort of elevated this team, and now Deshaun Watson's taking it up another notch. I want to hear what he's got to say about their quarterback situation. That's for me, if I'm a Gamecock, that is, without a question, the biggest red flag coming into this season. Because can you trust McElwain? Heck, Clemson didn't really trust Deshaun Watson until they got down to Tallahassee his freshman year. And Cole Stout was not looking good early. I don't know another way. Gun shy. I'm not sure what the best way to describe Cole Stout was his first couple of drives in Tallahassee. But can or will Muschamp trust Brandon McElwain to run this team in the opener?
I mean, it's a fair question. You do have a couple of guys that could step in front of McElwain and play. I do want to say that the SEC does have guys like Chad Kelly and Trevor Knight now from Oklahoma who will be able to play at A&M.
You know what? Chad Kelly is a great point. Chad Kelly also from
Indeed
Clemson. So we'll just, you know, we had to loan him. We didn't need him anymore, right? We had to loan him off.
Arguably the best quarterback in the SEC at this point now.
Oh, sure. Well, and maybe a Heisman guy too. I'm glad you brought his name up because I actually forgot about him being there. I'll be honest with you.
But I'd also think I'd want to hear him talk a little bit about the defense, because that was something during their after that 5-year stretch that they really had. They had a very good defense. They had a good defensive line, linebackers, secondary. They were a shut-down defense, and they did a lot of good things against good Clemson offenses in that stretch. Kind of dropped off the past couple of years. So how he's going to fix the defense, especially now with Sky Moore being out, I think that's obviously the other big question outside of quarterback.
Does it make you feel better if you're a Gamecock fan, do you think, knowing that he's got a background in being a defensive-minded guy?
Sure, and I'm sure that's part of the reason that he was the hire.
Make those changes. 803-978-1832, an hour in the books here on Clemson Sports Talk tonight. Coming up at 7:05, Tanner Smith will join us. We'll try to get him to open up a little bit about his time playing alongside former Clemson Tiger DeMontez Stitt passing away late yesterday evening at the age of 27 from what's being reported as an apparent heart attack. We'll talk with Tanner Smith around the bend. Stay with us here on Fox Sports Radio 1400, the iHeart Radio, and also live in high definition on YouTube.
Most of the time, we take for granted things like being able to walk into a bathroom and hop in the shower. I'm Terry Nation, owner of Nation Custom Builders, and I've learned not to take these things for granted. I've spent my career making life easier for the aging and handicapped by remodeling homes to include stand-up baths, widening doors, and lowering cabinets. Anything to make life easier for aging parents or someone with a handicap. I'll meet with you for free, and we'll start making life a little easier. No complication, no frustration, no aggravation. You're backed by a Nation. Give us a call, 807-8140.
The most valuable thing we have in life is time. You can't get it back. Save your time and do something good for your car with a basic interior and exterior cleaning from Mobile Works Auto Detailing. Keep your car looking sharp with several different packages featuring everything from the basic wash and vacuum to the works, which includes seat cleaning and headlight restoration. Save your time and still have a sharp car. Call Mobile Works Auto Detailing today at 743-8867 or online at mobileworksautodetailing.com.
Need custom shirts, hats, or uniforms? How about promotional giveaways for your business or organization? Need fast turnaround times? Look no further than Meridian Printing and Promotions. Located in Lexington, they provide an in-house art department, in-house screen printing, and in-house embroidery services to the Midlands and beyond. For the absolute best quality products and services, contact Meridian Printing and Promotions, 785-4990. Check them out online, mbspromo.com.
Calling all brides. You've got the ring. Now what? Plan your dream wedding at the Carolina Bridal Showcase, Sunday, July 17th. Find everything for your wedding under one roof in just one afternoon. The best wedding pros, food, drinks, fun, selfie stations, prizes, and giveaways, and so much more. Sponsored by Carolina Bride Magazine, American Floral, Hilton Columbia Center, Columbia Bridal Associates, Costco Productions, and iHeart Media. Tickets on sale now at bridecityshows.com. That's bridecityshows.com.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat Place. Just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
Saturdays in the Garage from Advance Auto Parts.
You know, with an older car, you should be using Castrol GTX high mileage.
All right, car genius. Why is that?
Well, it helps extend the life of your engine, and you can pick up 5 quarts for only $20.99.
You know, a lot for a guy who refilled his wiper fluid with antifreeze.
Hey, even geniuses make mistakes sometimes.
Uh-huh. You know your shirt is on inside out.
Don't judge me.
Advance Auto Parts. Let's get you back on the road. See store for details.
Here's the thing about baseball.
There is nothing better than spring training out in Arizona.
It sometimes goes on during the day.
Inconvenient.
And here's the thing about my employer. They expect me to work during the day.
Lame.
With iHeartRadio.com, I'm able to keep up with my favorite teams and my favorite station right at work. Not to mention music, all free. Listen online at iHeartRadio.com or using our iHeartRadio app. The app is especially useful if work blocks access to iHeartRadio.com.
How dare they?
From the TrueCar.com studios, the new way to buy a car. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400, WCOS Columbia. Available anywhere you go on the iHeartRadio.
Fox Sports trending now.
Tim Duncan saying he's moving on to another chapter. In an interview with his best friend that went through vivid streaming, Tim Duncan announced today that he retired from the NBA because basketball wasn't fun anymore. In the interview, he said, when it's not fun, quote, I'm done, end quote. Duncan retired after 19 seasons in the NBA on Monday. The latest is brought to you by TrueCar. Find the new car you want, see what others paid, and lock in guaranteed savings from TrueCar certified dealers. Save time, save money, and never overpay. Download the TrueCar app today. College Football Playoff Committee Executive Director Bill Hancock says they are looking at options that would move the College Football Playoff semifinals off of New Year's Eve starting in 2019. However, the 2016 College Football Playoff semis will remain on New Year's Eve. Forbes says the Dallas Cowboys are the most valuable team in sports, valued at $4 billion. I'm Dan.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set, just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's primetime right here on Fox Sports Radio and iHeart Radio. Lawton Swan hanging out with you. Looking forward to talking with Tanner Smith here momentarily about his time playing alongside DeMontez Stitt. Again, if you're just joining the program at the top of the hour, DeMontez Stitt passing away yesterday evening. Tanner Smith going to be on the show with us here momentarily, and you know, Tanner's been on with us before. He's a great interview, and I know he and DeMontez were close. Stitt, one of those leaders, and I mentioned the leadership that DeMontez Stitt had, but also the leadership that Tanner Smith had, and how much of maybe what Tanner Smith became at Clemson sort of rubbed off on got rubbed off on him by playing alongside a guy like DeMontez Stitt throughout his career. 803-978-1832. Chat room, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Again, he'll be joining us at 7:05. A couple of people chiming in via the Caribbean Resort and Villas text line tonight. Old School Tiger says if the Gamecocks win 5 games, you should let Speedy and Muschamp do your show for a day. He says that'll never happen. And I think he's talking about them winning 5 games. He also says, plus Speedy sort of reminds him of Steve Spurrier from last year at his emergency press conference when he was trying to convince fans that they were going to be good. Sounds like damage control from the South Carolina fans already. That's coming to us from Old School Tiger via the Caribbean Resort and Villas text line. Tiger Chris chiming in via the Caribbean Resort and Villas text line says the NCAA should mandate all college athletes to have an EKG. And I don't know if you can discover everything on an EKG. And again, nothing confirmed thus far that I've found on DeMontez Stitt as far as the cause of death. But definitely a sad, sad day for Clemson Tiger Nation today, finding that out. But Tiger Chris, I agree. I think there should be more done, especially when you have these opportunities, especially when the opportunities are available to you. Chat room is open. ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Text line brought to you by the Caribbean Resort and Villas over in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And we always appreciate you all taking time to text the program because it is a valuable way for you to be a part of it. Don't forget about the Wave app. The Wave app is a very unique way for you to be a part of this program. You can speak. You can actually use your voice to be a part of the show, and then Lowell the intern can cue you up and run you up here on the program. But without further ado, not under the best of circumstances, but we are joined right now by former Clemson Tiger basketball star Tanner Smith. Tanner, welcome in the show, man. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh, no, thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Man, I tell you what, you know, I always love having former players on the program. I hate when I have them on the program in situations like this where we have to talk about one of their former teammates passing away, especially a guy as young and as vibrant as DeMontez Stitt was, just passing away at the age of 27. Obviously, you were a year behind him coming into Clemson, but What was your first initial, memory of him, or the moment that you think of when you first met DeMontez Stitt there in Tigertown?
My first memory was probably when I came on my official visit. He was in charge of showing me around, and I thought that was great. He was a freshman at the time. I was going to be playing with him for the next 3 years of my career, and he was the point guard, and I was coming in to be one of the wings, and he just, like you said, he had a vibrant personality, and he was a guy that it's hard to put into words what he meant to me, and I think a lot of people. He just had that personality about him that he just felt like he could conquer the world. There was no challenge too big. There was no moment that he wasn't going to overcome.
Yeah.
And we've been really lucky and friends ever since. And that was something that I'll cherish forever. I'm really going to miss him. I'm really going to miss him. And I hope his family knows how much of an impact he had on my life and so many of his teammates' lives. He was a special guy for me and every teammate, and I think every coach that came in contact with him.
Tanner Smith joining us here on Clemson Sports Talk tonight to reflect about his time playing alongside DeMontez Stitt up in Tigertown. Tanner, when you look at your career, there was a unique parallel between you and DeMontez Stitt, in my opinion, and it was your leadership on the court. We don't, as fans, as journalists, we don't get to see you guys off the court as much. What was he like off the court in terms of, leadership and kind of taking guys not only under their wings, but maybe, the new guys that come in as you guys kind of move up and become the upperclassmen? What kind of guy was he to those individuals as well?
He was he was that guy. Everybody knew who DeMontez was, and everybody knew what you were going to get from him every night. And you came in and you were slacking off. You came in and things weren't going like he wanted them to go. He was going to let you know about it. And I think for me that was really helpful.
Yeah.
Because I'm a pretty outspoken person. I like things done a certain way, and it's nice to always have that guy that I could look to have my back. And I always had his. He always had mine. And he was a funny dude too. He was the first guy to crack on you if coach got on to you during practice.
Sure.
He'd come in with that big smile and reenact the situation or the moment. Same thing with a coach. If a coach messed up with something, he was going to give them a hard time. But he knew when it was time to get serious and things were. He knew when that time was. So he had this great balance. His priorities were just, in the right order, and he just off the floor. His personality was very similar to his on the floor because his personality off the floor was giving it all. He wasn't. You never saw him and he wasn't smiling or he wasn't the energetic DeMontez that you saw on the floor. He was never like a chill dude. He was always excited and happy and ready to see. Even our 5:30 a.m. conditioning sessions, everybody else would be walking in upset, tired. He'd walk in with his big old smile on his face, and he'd be the first guy out of the locker room and leading the charge. And something that, you just can't teach, something that, is born and something that, his family obviously raised him the right way. And it's really sad loss.
Tanner Smith on Clemson Sports Talk tonight. He's the director of basketball operations up at Charlotte, and on Twitter at Tanner Smith 5. And Tanner, I know that, when you look at sort of passing that torch of leadership, there's always that guy that sort of assumes that role. And while DeMontez seemingly kind of had that fire burning inside of him his entire time at Clemson, I look at your career and his career and I say, man, that torch, he handed it directly to you for your senior year, and you really ran with it. What's it like when you got a guy with that kind of leadership on your team who you, and I don't know if it was something that he ever said to you, but at least from my perspective, it seemed like you sort of assumed that role of being the heart and soul of that Clemson basketball team your final year.
Yeah, it's just something you learn from guys. And I think the hardest part is obviously balancing what the team needs and then also what you need to be successful. And DeMontez was great with that. He understood, like, for him to be successful, he was a jerk on the floor. He was going after dudes. He was challenging guys. He was, there was no opponent that came in that felt comfortable and they were going against him because he was coming at them. But he had this great way about him to have the team have an edge of comfortability and something that he didn't give to opponents. And that's just an innate talent. It was a guy that, like, when you looked across and you saw other guys against you and then you looked around at the guys on your side, you were glad DeMontez was wearing the same colored jersey. And he just gave that comfortable feeling, and something that, I tried to learn how to give to guys. And, it's been, it was fun to even watch his pro career, because guys that ended up playing against him in the professional level, said the same kind of things about how competitive he was, how tough he was, never back down attitude. And, so it wasn't just something that happened a few years here or there. It was something that, made him good and made him continue to be better and better every day.
One of the things that's kind of funny about his career for me is that my intern here in studio brought up the fact that, and it was a similar moment for me, it was some of the more memorable moments for DeMontez Stitt early in his career were at the free throw line, because as Clemson Tiger people, you'd never seen anybody who really desired to go to the free throw line to try and drive that dagger into the hearts of your opponent. And there he is as a freshman, almost excited and giddy to step to the free throw line in front of, 15,000 fans in the stadium. And I know he never played in front of anything like that in high school, but you got to have a, like you mentioned, like a Warriors mentality to be able to do that. And he's doing it at 18 on the road in big ACC environments.
Yeah, I mean, he was, like I said, there was any expectations that you had about DeMontez, he was just going to exceed them. He expected more from himself than I think anyone else did. And, with all the talk, I mean, he was a hard worker. I mean, he came in, he got work done, he came in, and if he had a bad game, he was going to be the first one in there. He was going to push you to be better, and that was, he just never expected more. He expected more from himself than anybody could have put on him. And that goes a long way when you're competing at the highest level and you're expected to do some things that had never been done before in Clemson history. And he was more than willing to be the spearhead of that.
The only player to ever start in 4 consecutive NCAA tournaments, DeMontez Stitt at Clemson, passing away at the age of 27 yesterday evening. Tanner Smith joining the program, a former teammate for 3 years alongside DeMontez Stitt there in Tigertown. And Tanner, I know you're doing great things, and I know you still have your Tanner's Totes and everything going on with that. But in terms of seeing and keeping up with former teammates, and even obviously even for this conversation, DeMontez Stitt, when was the last time you talked to him?
I talked to him about middle of the year, so I guess middle of his professional career last year, so around Christmas time. Now being a coach, I was kind of able to keep up with guys a little bit better than I was when I was playing.
Sure.
And, he was doing well. And I think the best, the good part about this is that you can, you get to relive some moments with past teammates.
Sure.
I've talked to guys like Xavier Anderson today, Jonah Bays, Trevor Booker. I've talked to Coach Purnell. I've texted with Shaka Smart today, obviously with Coach Brownell. And I've, been able to talk to a lot of people, and just, it's funny, like the best way for, I think, everybody to handle it right now is just to talk about some of the great memories that we all have of DeMontez. And, it's funny, the some things people remember, some things people forget, but the word that continually comes up about him is just how competitive he was and how tough he was. And so it's something that I'll truly miss about him, and something that he obviously left a lasting legacy on a bunch of people.
A lot of times there's a great funny story. There's a lasting memory that you might have of, just kind of ribbing some of the young guys or whatever. Do you have anyone specific or any time specifically that kind of stands out to you where maybe DeMontez pulled one over on somebody?
Oh, man. I mean, it's funny because I think there's a lot. And so probably my favorite one, and one that I like, I guess, now being a coach is, we're doing our walk before the game, and DeMontez came with the idea that we should play tag during walkthrough.
Okay.
Because of course DeMontez, he wanted to have a little fun while we were there at 8:00 at night, walking through the place for other teams.
Sure.
And so he would pick who was it before we went out on the court, and then it was very subtle games of tag. So, it would be like if the guy that was it came close to you on like a screen that was happening in the play, you knew you had to go that way because otherwise
Right.
coach was going to get really mad. So you had to go by and they would tag you, and you'd do your best to try to tag them back or tag somebody else. If the person that was out waiting for the next group, everybody was like slowly inching away from them, as discreetly as they could. And it's funny because we never got caught, and it's just like being a coach now.
Yeah.
I would be so mad if my team was doing that.
Yeah.
But thinking back on it, it was hilarious to me.
Oh, I'm sure.
And if you were in at the end, there were prices to pay if you were in at the end. It was just a lot of. That's probably my favorite one. But you could talk about just his. When the coaching change happened his senior year, he was the first guy to talk about nobody transferring, and he very easily could have been out and somewhere else.
Right.
But Clemson meant a lot to him. Obviously, us as teammates meant a lot to him. And he knew we had something special, even though some other people might not have thought we had. And so, he had both sides. He had the competitive side, the side that wasn't going to back down from a challenge, and at the same time, he had this really charismatic, funny way about him that was very contagious. And so, it was just very few guys had both, and he was one of them.
Gone far too soon. DeMontez Stitt passing away at the age of 27. It's almost it almost seems impossible to be talking about him. Just as I mentioned, so vibrant. Just talking about him in past tense is hard for people. I know Lowell, the intern here in studio, was struggling with it earlier because he kind of grew up watching you guys and feels like, man, yeah, you guys are like superstars and just incredible to him. And then to have something like that happen. When you look at it now, though, and you kind of reflect back on it, obviously, you always wish you had more time. How has it changed maybe over the past couple of days or a day now when you talk about talking with former teammates, but kind of recognizing how short this opportunity is here to be alive on Earth?
It's hard not to, in times like this, think about your own mortality and the little moments that make life so special.
Yeah.
But, you just have to take advantage of it. And I think that was something that DeMontez did. He took advantage of the opportunities that he had at Clemson. He took advantage of the opportunities he had playing overseas. He took advantage of the chances he had at Butler High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. I mean, he took advantage of every opportunity. Everybody he met, he wanted to leave them with this lasting impression of who DeMontez Stitt was. And, when you talk about it, we're all extremely lucky to be here. We're, one breath away by the grace of God from going home. And, it's hard. It's hard, and it'll be hard for a while. It'll be hard for I'm sure for his family for a long, long, long time. And, I just hope they know that, so many of his teammates and even guys that he played against are, praying for his family and out there for him if they need help or anything at all. And it's something that's, going to be difficult for a long time. And, but, he did leave a great impact on this earth and definitely a lasting impression to me that I'll always remember, man, and probably for the rest of my life, I'll be talking to my players about the ultimate competitor and the ultimate teammate, a guy that was, like you said, gone too soon.
Tanner, man, appreciate your time tonight, and thank you so much for reflecting on DeMontez and his life, and best of luck to you and your job there at Charlotte. I know you're doing a fantastic job for him there as the Director of Basketball Operations, and we look forward to having you back on Clemson Sports Talk real soon.
Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for all you do for not only Clemson, but, just the surrounding areas, keeping us in the loop and supporting us. We really do appreciate it.
No doubt, man. Follow Tanner on Twitter at TannerSmith5. We'll come back and reflect on some of what Tanner had to say right after this.
Our customers receive the best heating and air conditioning service in South Carolina. Hi, I'm Tim Mosley, and I can make that statement because that's what our customers tell us every day. We call it quality confirmed. Call us at 803-233-7172, and we'll call you when the job is done to confirm we met your expectations. That's quality confirmed. We're Carolina Conditions, and we're committed to meeting your expectations. 803-233-7172. Call us at 803-233-7172.
For 28 years, the professional staff of the Hobbs Group and Hobbs Group Advisors has been dedicated to helping others achieve their financial goals by delivering quality, objective financial and accounting solutions to a diverse client base of individuals and businesses all over South Carolina. We offer tax and audit services, bookkeeping, payroll, litigation support, employee benefits, personal financial planning, investment management, and insurance services. Please call us at 803-799-0555 or visit our website, hobbscpa.com, to learn more about our people and services.
Lawton Swan here, and I know in sports we're always talking about the big guy. Well, let me tell you, when you're buying a car, you don't need that. What you need to do is head down to Orangeburg to my good friends at Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac. 4 generations of family-owned business right there at Ferry Chevrolet. No dock fees, no tricks, straightforward pricing in a low-pressure environment you'll love. Check them out online, ferrychevrolet.com, or call them 803-536-1600. It's Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac, just a short 30-minute drive off of exit 145A in Orangeburg.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at clemsonsportstalk.com.
Going down to meet my little Bobby Socks. Shove a big nigga in the music box. Splash for a while in my Bermuda shorts. And then I'm gonna order us a mellow malt. I'm gonna nip sip every day.
You know, it is a unique situation that I get to be in here, and a blessed situation that I get to be in here to interview players when they are at their best, interview players when they've had a huge moment, interview coaches, athletic directors, the executive director of the college football playoff, all the people that we've had on the show, from former greats and legends. I'm blessed beyond measure to do that. It is hard to interview guys in the situation that Tanner Smith was in. And I first want to commend Tanner because I don't know at 26 years of age or 27, however old Tanner is now, if I could have done an interview about a former teammate as well as Tanner Smith just did. I thought he was incredible. And quite frankly, the story about playing tag with the team that Devontae Stitt, this is the guy, again, that Tanner labeled the ultimate competitor. And what a compliment. Tanner said for the rest of his career when he's coaching, he's going to talk about the ultimate competitor, and he's going to be talking about Devontae Stitt. All right, but as competitive as Stitt was, there was still that inner, I would almost call it child, that wanted to have some fun. And it was still competitive too, that aspect of it, playing tag. But you know what I like about hearing that story about Devontae Stitt and the Clemson Tiger basketball team, maybe more than anything, Lowell, and this is honest. I've watched games before, and like Tanner said, as a coach, he would hate if he knew that his team was doing that. And he was amazed that they always got away with it, or they got away with the time they did it. But as a fan of a game, and listen, if you didn't realize that I was a fan, and I'm not talking about a Clemson, I'm a fan of sports. As a fan, to hear that, it gives me great pleasure in knowing that the times when I've watched a team play, whether it's Clemson, whether it's the Carolina Panthers, and they're just falling apart, and I think to myself, were these guys even paying attention at practice? Like, do they know what's going on? Then occasionally, 18 to 22-year-old guys, you know what? As much as you want them to grind and go out and be just focused on winning and everything 24/7, at their heart, they're still just young men. They're still just boys having a good time, playing a game they love. And occasionally, playing a game of tag when the coaching staff has no idea about it during their shoot-around, during the preparation, their walkthrough for a game. Now, I have a feeling we're not talking about like ACC championships or, big games. I'm thinking probably something a little small, but I love that story because for me, the college athlete, unfortunately, and maybe even like the college coach, and we were critical of coaches earlier, the money and the desire to win by these fan bases has stripped away some of the innocence of the game. It's part of the reason I don't think coaches should have to make these decisions about players. I believe the NCAA should mandate it. And it's simple. And some people say this to me, Lowell. They say, but Swanee, the NCAA can't mandate something like that because they don't have a way to enforce it or keep up with it. I don't want to leave all the other conferences out, but let's just focus on the Power 5 for a minute. You have to be honest with me here, Lowell. You do believe that if the NCAA had a policy of off-season arrest is a one-game suspension at the beginning of the year, just some sort of handbook. If schools have them, couldn't the NCAA have them? And when I'm talking about schools, I'm not talking about colleges. I'm talking about elementary, middle, high schools. They have a little handbook. They have little rules. And I know people aren't for big government and things like that. But couldn't the NCAA just have some bylaws that say, hey, you get arrested in the offseason, it's a one-game suspension? Then it takes the heat off of the coaches in some ways. Because don't you think Saban, Mullen, Malzahn feel pressure to play players to win games?
Well, I want to say for a guy like Nick Saban that it really should never be an issue because you've been so successful. You're really not on a hot seat. You really don't have an excuse.
I disagree. I think he's on one of the hottest seats in town because if he loses 3 games, that's a fan base that's in the dumps. That's a hot fan base. That's the one problem with being at Alabama. You lose 1 game, catastrophe. You lose more than that, it's a horrible season.
Alabama could lose 4 games this year and he'd still have a job. Realistically, he's not going to lose his job.
He'd still have a job, but he would be getting as much criticism as other coaches who are tanking.
I just think it's a shame that we even have to have this conversation.
If he loses 4 games, Speedy could come co-host the show.
No, that's obviously not going to happen.
Right.
I just think it's a shame that we're even having to have this conversation about blanket rules because guys can't get over or man up and punish their players when they need to do it. I think we kind of sometimes as fans can look at these guys and just see players. You're not really seeing people. They're not humanized for a lot of people, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And I think hearing a story like the tag, the behind the scenes stuff, you're not just seeing the guy on the court, you're not just seeing the guy on the field going out and playing and making big players or making plays and making a mistake, and you're not just criticizing this. Like I don't trying to be careful with my words here.
Yes, please do.
But it's like we're not looking at them as people as much as we're just looking at them as
a commodity.
These guys out here playing.
A commodity.
Yeah, right.
Right. Like, can I get the next greatest item to come in and be better than the one I had before?
And so I think it's really cool kind of hearing these humanizing stories because now you go, that was a real person. That was a person who off the field liked having fun, had emotions, and stuff like that. And so I really enjoyed that story.
Sure, it's not robot. These guys aren't widgets.
Right.
It's not a plug and play model. I mean, every one of them's a little bit different. I agree. I agree with that 100%. One of the things we've been running through here on the program the past couple of days is the national championship game. I've been breaking it down by quarter, and I have the third quarter to do. And I was going to do it tonight, but Lowell, you dropped a little bombshell on me earlier, and it's going to free me up a couple of segments on Thursday and Friday And Friday is the annual Swanee Awards. We'll be going through quarter 4 of the national championship that day. I'm going to roll quarter 3 over to tomorrow. So we'll take a look at it tomorrow. I'll talk about it tomorrow. Lowell's not going to be here, though, Friday, Lowell. Is that what I understand?
I didn't want to talk about that on air, but that's the truth.
Okay. So, Lowell, you can go and have a good time. Do your thing. I will say this about Lowell, the intern, and his dad. They like a good time.
We do.
They enjoy a good comedy, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. 803-978-1832. The hashtag on Twitter, CST Show. Follow the program at Clemson Sports. You can get in on the program anytime you want via the Wave app, WAVVE. Conversate, talk with other Clemson Tiger fans. It makes it easy. We'll put some of those in the program. I did get a message, though, to the Caribbean Resort and Villas text line. I'm going to read it to you now, Lowell. I may need you to help me decipher it because I don't really understand what the question is, okay? And occasionally you can read something on the air and not understand it. So I'm going to read it to you. We'll go to break. We'll try to come back and answer it. This comes to us from Tim. He says, man, let me ask you a tough question. Does the rest of the team cover him? You know Watson is going to make his plays, but what about the rest of the team? That's the question I get from Tim. Lowell, the intern, and myself will try to break that down and tell you what we think that text message means that came to us via the Caribbean Resort and Villas text line right after this.
Race. Are we so different? This summer, the South Carolina State Museum will ask you to open your mind and explore the concept of race and how it affects us from the biological, cultural, and historical points of view. An unprecedented look at race and racism. Visit scmuseum.org.
Calling all brides. You've got the ring. Now what? Plan your dream wedding at the Carolina Bridal Showcase, Sunday, July 17th. Find everything for your wedding under one roof in just one afternoon. The best wedding pros, food, drinks, fun, selfie stations, prizes, and giveaways, and so much more. Sponsored by Carolina Bride Magazine, American Floral, Hilton Columbia Center, Columbia Bridal Associates, Costco Productions, and iHeart Media. Tickets on sale now at bridecityshows.com. That's bridecityshows.com.
When a stroke happens, every second counts. So don't drive and call 911 to get to the emergency department as soon as possible. At Lexington Medical Center, we're pleased to serve our community. As a certified primary stroke center, our acute stroke team rapidly evaluates patients and provides them with the fastest treatment possible. This specialized care limits the chance of brain damage and gives stroke patients a better chance of full recovery. Act quickly at the first sign of a stroke and count on the Stroke Center at Lexington Medical Center to provide you with the best possible care.
Do you want a pharmacy that treats you like a person and not just a number? Then let Craig and Lori at Southlake Drug show you what a pharmacy should be. Fast, friendly, and professional. Southlake Drug can transfer your prescriptions and take the hassle out of getting your medicine and getting you on your way. Southlake Drug takes all major insurance programs, including Medicare, Medicaid, and state employees, and they provide immunization services, including flu shots with no wait and no appointment. Southlake Drug, 1856 Southlake Drive in the Food Line Shopping Center, 399-7701, or southlakedrug.com.
The beat goes on with the weather. Hot tonight. Temperatures will dip down only to the mid-70s. Tomorrow, sunny, sticky, hot. Highs around 100 degrees and just a few scattered storms late in the day. For Channel 25 ABC Columbia, I'm Chief Meteorologist John Farley.
This report is brought to you by TrueCar.
Save time and money by downloading TrueCar's mobile app. Configure the new car you want, see what others paid for it, and get guaranteed savings. TrueCar users save on average over $3,000 off MSRP. Save time and money. Download the TrueCar app today.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show now at 978-1832 or text 803-450-0086.
Be young, be foolish, but be happy. Be young, be foolish, but be happy.
Clemson Sports Talk, Lawton Swan, Lowell the intern, trying to dissect this text message coming to us from the Caribbean Resort and Villas text line for Tim. He says, man, let me ask you a tough question. Does the rest of the team cover him? You know Watson's going to make his plays, but what about the rest of the team? Well, you had a theory on what Tim meant here, and you feel like what he's saying is, you know Watson's going to get his. If people take Watson away, can the other guys kind of cover his back and make plays for him?
Right, that like kind of thing like basketball. You know, a guy from the 40, but stuff anybody else in the game. That's kind of how I'm reading that.
Just don't let Watson beat you.
Don't let everyone else beat you. Watson is going to
play. Okay, yeah.
And the rest of them up to help him.
Okay. So
how I'm hearing that.
I think the rest of the team, well, then I guess my answer is, yeah, I think the rest of the team covers it. I mean, I think they help him out. I think you go back and you look at your man, Hunter Renfrow, and the job he did as a true freshman. I can't imagine you're not going to get the same thing from Hunter Renfrow. I'm more impressed that I was able to work in a true freshman remark without Lowell cringing, but nonetheless, I found a way to pull that off. I think you get Deion Kane back, you get Mike Williams back. I saw a different type player in Deshaun Watson last year. I saw a different type player. I saw a guy who looked better than Marcus Mariota to me. I saw a guy who I thought looked better than Jameis Winston to me. Looked more athletic. And those two guys are a couple of Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks who've led their team, one to a national title, the other played for it. The only concern I have, and I will tell you, I visited with one of our sponsors over at South Lake Drug. Craig. I was talking with Craig earlier today, and I told him, I think that, by the way, if you're out in the Red Bank area, Food Lion Shopping Center, that's their location. Check them out, man. That's a fantastic job. I've got about this much, and I think if I were making a recipe, Lowell, I would say it's a smidgen. I got about a smidgen of concern that Deshaun Watson starts looking out for number one this year. It's a small concern because I don't think he's got that in him. I think he's a kind of a go-getter type player all the time, but I would have said the same thing about Jaron Kearse, but I felt like at the end of the season last year, Jaron Kearse started to look out for number one. In Jaron Kearse's situation, hashtag pun intended, I think he wore number one. So Deshaun Watson would be looking out for number 4, technically. It's a smidgen. I think that's the only thing that really derails Deshaun Watson this year. Injury would be the other big concern. About this much, if you're watching on YouTube, about that much. That Deshaun Watson, a smidgen, that Watson looks out for number 4 and maybe doesn't stand in the pocket and take a big hit. Maybe isn't as willing to pull the ball down and break off a 15, 25-yard run. Maybe he's just more willing to go down to stay safe, to stay healthy, to get a big check. Ironically, he could play another year of college football if he chooses to. That's probably, for me, injury would be a big concern. About that much, just a smidgen, a pinch. That it's Deshaun Watson up here focusing right here on the money and not on the game.
I think the chances of him not giving his all during the season are about the same as him coming back for another season. Which is, like, you can't even separate my fingers. They're pretty much close.
That's in cooking terms, that's less than a smidgen.
Yeah.
What a great word, right? Smidgen. It's a underused word. 803-978-1832. I don't think you need to be concerned about that, but I do think that's probably the only major Deshaun Watson concern outside of an injury that I really have. I mean, You go back and watch him against Alabama, that defense, the way he was carving them up. And when he got going, one of the best scenes is the first touchdown throw he makes to Hunter Renfrow. And it's almost something out of like Braveheart because he goes to the arrow and there's blood on his elbow. He's like the wounded warrior. I'm like, yeah, this guy is incredible. This guy's on a different level. 803-978-1832. Chat room open, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. The Real Payzant joining the program wants to talk to Montez Stitt and Auburn tonight. Payzant, what's up?
Hey, Swan, thanks for having me. And I kind of wanted to call tonight because there's 2 points that have been talked about that kind of, you find those things in life that kind of transcend sport and kind of make sport look, small and insignificant when it comes to young men and women who play it. And, the unfortunate, untimely passing of Stitt is just, it was when I read that tweet this morning, I was dumbfounded because he's a player that Clemson fans really enjoyed, really liked. And he listen to Tanner talk about him. He embodied kind of everything that you want in a young, person and a young athlete.
Sure.
And then with, it's hard to really defend the actions of a coach that does not hold his players accountable. Now, I'm not trying to put Clemson sports on a pedestal above everybody else. Dabo has had his share of critics on how he runs the team, but when it comes to discipline and it comes to accountability, he's second to none. And I really think with Stitt was 27 years old, and after college sports, we don't know what these young men and women are going to do. We don't know how they're going to live their lives, how long they're going to live their lives. The only thing as coaches that we can do is teach them how to live their life. And if they commit crimes, if they're doing things that are unbecoming of a college athlete, whatever conference you're in, ACC, SEC, it doesn't matter. If you don't hold that player accountable and then give him or her that second chance, even third chance, everybody deserves that. But if you're just keeping them level playing for everybody else when they're making the team, they're hurting their team, they're making their brand look bad, it does nothing for sport. It actually hurts your image, it hurts your brand, and it hurts that kid who has to learn and become an adult one day. It hurts them in their progress. So it's tough for me to defend anybody that doesn't hold people accountable.
Listen, there's no question about that, and I think the SEC took a ton of heat for it. The Real Payzant, appreciate the phone call, 803-978-1832. Al on Twitter, at Edward Shump33 says, Swanee, man, what are the chances that Trevor Lawrence commits to Clemson? I don't know how closely you've been following the Trevor Lawrence saga, the 2018 number one player, number one quarterback in that class. Down to 2. Down to your Clemson Tigers and hunkering down potentially with the Bulldogs. We'll tell you what we think about it and also the chances that Trevor Lawrence commits to Clemson right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400, also on the iHeart Radio app right after this.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman-Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? Cut to order at Kaufman's Meat Place. Just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
Hi, my name is Donald Kidwell, current owner of CrossFit Iron Mary's. After finding CrossFit in 2012, I lost 128 pounds. At CrossFit Iron Mary's, you're not a barcode, you're an actual person. Where you are now is not important. Where you want to be is. 3 locations to reach your fitness goals in Columbia: the Old Mill in Lexington, Trotter Road in West Columbia, and downtown near the Carolina Baseball Stadium. Check us out online at CrossFitIronMarys.com or give us a call at 803-414-9601. Set up your first set of free classes today at CrossFit Iron Mary's, 803-414-9601.
Some of you think it takes too long to drive to Buffalo Wild Wings, order lunch, eat, and get back to work in time. It's because of people like you that we've got the B-Dubs Fast Break Lunch Menu. We guarantee you'll get an entree like wings or street tacos plus a side delivered to your table in just 15 minutes or it's free. You used to wish we could serve lunch faster. Now you might wish we were slower, but we won't be. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
For a limited time only at participating locations. Restrictions apply. See participating locations for details.
Lawton Swan here, and I know in sports we're always talking about the big guy. Well, let me tell you, when you're buying a car, you don't need that. What you need to do is head down to Orangeburg to my good friends at Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac. 4 generations of family-owned business right there at Ferry Chevrolet. No dock fees, no tricks, straightforward pricing in a low-pressure environment you'll love. Check them out online, ferrychevrolet.com, or call them 803-536-1600. It's Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac, just a short 30-minute drive off of exit 145A in Orangeburg.
For more information about contests on this station, go to foxsportsradio1400.com/rules.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at clemsonsportstalk.com.
What have you done for me lately? It's a fair question. Just don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't forget history. Lucky for us at Clemson, the answer to the questions, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done always, are the same. We win.
Shaking the Southland weeknights, Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan, my man Lowell the intern in the building here, and we got a message coming to us from out on social media at Clemson Sports. He's at Lowell the intern, by the way. Coming to us from Edward Shumpert about Trevor Lawrence. If you haven't seen this kid, I know he's got another year of high school. Actually, hold on, another 2 years of high school. It's 2018 class. He could sling it, man. I mean, great arm. God. Lowell, you talk about being the big man on campus. This guy's going to waltz in with the blonde locks flowing, slinging the pill all over the field. He's going to be a good one. Down to Clemson in Georgia. And it's funny because I remember the days when it was like, man, did you hear Clemson got a 5-star on campus? Now it's more like, hey, man, did you hear Clemson didn't get a 5-star on campus? Because it's like 5 stars just waltzing in. You're just like, oh, another 5-star, another big name. Top-rated safety, top-rated quarterback, top-rated offensive lineman. Everywhere you turn, the top-rated guys, they're like, there was one the other day, Lowell, I don't remember which kid it was. I would have to go back and check. Like 3 months ago, he released the top 10. No Clemson. Released his top 5. Clemson. So, whoa. You know, I didn't pay all that much attention to Miss Landrum's class, but I was always pretty sure if I had a set of numbers and, you know, it was the top 10 of something, that when you got to the top 5 of something, they would have come from that top 10, you would think.
It was the number 1 safety in 2017, Jeffrey Okudah. Oh, good luck with that. Yeah, it's like those Alabama fans trying to pronounce the quarterback's name from Hawaii. That looks right. Anyways, just number 1 safety for the class of 2017. Okay, so that's who it was. I remember. I couldn't remember which kid it was. So here's my top 10. 3 months later, here's my top 5, and you're thinking, well, can you imagine the Miss USA pageant? Here's Miss Vermont, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia,
Texas, Louisiana, Miss Michigan, Ohio State, or Ohio. I almost went football there on you. Idaho and, I don't know, California. And then you get down to the top 5, and they're all of a sudden throwing Miss Hawaii in there out of nowhere, and the other contestants are like, what? But hold on, she wasn't even in the top 10. How could she be? Clemson, and ironically, I think Florida State also, if I remember.
Maybe they had already made the cut past the top 10.
Oh, right.
So when it gets down to it, they're there.
This is my top 10 that I might pick. I've got 2 I've already picked. And so that's how it works. Okay, so, but the brand is huge. Trevor Lawrence, though, if the question is, what are the chances he commits to Clemson? And I believe he's set a date for some point in August. I want to say mid to late August. That he's going to make a verbal commitment. Again, well in advance. I would say slim chances that he commits to Clemson. He's a kid from Georgia. There's a lot of competition at Clemson. There's competition at Georgia as well. I think Georgia's offense, and this is something Lowell the intern and I were talking about off the air, and I'll give Lowell the credit because he did bring it up, but I think the offense maybe fits what he might like to do a little bit more, being more of a pro-style offense. I'll tell you this, though. There's still a lot of time. This is just a verbal commitment. And if Kirby Smart gets off to a shaky start at Georgia, then, yeah, I think Clemson would have the chances to come in and pull off what they did with guys like T. Higgins, guys like Hunter Johnson, the old flipperoo. By the way, Lowell, we haven't talked to you since T. Higgins put out his fireworks video. Is that the single greatest commitment video you've ever seen?
That was solid work.
If you weren't a Clemson person, if you were a Gamecock, Lowell, I want you to slide on. Can you slide on your garnet shaded glasses for a minute?
It'll be tough, but I'll give it a go.
If you were a Gamecock and you saw that commitment video, aside from the fact that it was a Clemson video, what would you think about it?
First, I would probably think, wow, that's pretty cool. And then I'll probably think, ooh, gross.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. 803-978-1832. Davey D says he's read where Trevor Lawrence already looked like a college quarterback. Davey D, I'll tell you what else I've heard about this kid. Some people have said that he looks like the most pro-ready quarterback in the next 2 cycles, 2017 and 2018.
Looks like Peyton Manning to me. I've put that out there before. The way he throws the ball looks like Peyton Manning. I'll say this.
Yeah.
Talk about the offense as you go back to talking about the pro style versus the spread. If you really want to sell him on being able to play at Clemson, Tony Elliott and Jeff Scott, go pull up the tape of Cole Stout against Oklahoma. Look how they changed the offense for Cole Stout and go, hey, we'll work with you.
Yeah, we'll connect those dots. We'll help you out, big fella. On Twitter, Mark with a C says Clemson Sports. He wants to know, should this show be sponsored by Floby? I'm going to admit something here on the air, Lowell, that I've never admitted on the air before. There was a point in my life, Lowell, where my neighbor, and I'll call him out as well, Tad Dickinson, down in Barnwell, South Carolina. I used to borrow his Floby to cut my hair back in the day.
I'm going to admit something that I've never admitted before either. I have no idea what a Floby is.
Oh, what? Are you kidding me?
No idea.
Okay. Think of all right. So think of hedge trimmers. Okay?
Okay.
Encased in like a plastic. So the hedge trimmers are inside the plastic. On the back end is a nozzle that hooks into a shop vac. There are links of plastic that you attach to the end so that it vacuums your hair up. There's no mess left behind because your hair goes into the vacuum and it cuts your hair.
That sounds super clunky.
No. The Floby, it was a huge hit. You could, I think, you buy your first Floby for $19.99. They throw in the second one free. You've seen these gimmicks before.
Right.
Yeah, that's the Floby. I know what we're going to do after the show, though. Do you know what we're going to do after the show tonight, Lowell?
Are you going to go buy a Flowbee?
No,
What's
I
gonna happen?
don't think you can buy it. We're going to watch a YouTube commercial of a Flowbee. That's what we're going to do after the show.
The picture is plenty enough for me.
Are you scared of the Flowbee?
A little bit. I'm a little bit scared of the Flowbee.
What concerns you, oh child of the 90s, of the Flowbee?
I don't know. I don't trust it. I just don't trust it.
It was incredible. You put on the links you want. You want a little longer on the top. You add an extra link. You can imagine how this works. So demonstrating here on YouTube. If you wanted your hair this short, you only added one plastic piece. If you wanted it that long, you added a second plastic piece. The vacuum did the work. The clippers cut the hair. 3 minutes, man. 3-minute haircut. 3-minute haircut. It's the greatest thing ever. The Flowbee. I appreciate Mark with a C bringing the Flowbee to the show.
If it's so good, where is it now?
Yeah, that I'm not sure about. Their patent probably ran out, and somebody probably ripped them off. Somebody probably ripped them off. There used to be a great show that came on TV, Lowell. You don't remember it either. I can't remember the name of it, but they would have all these great inventions, like this guy painting a wall with like an ounce of paint and some kind of special sponge brush, and your car getting scratched, and they put this special elixir on it, and it fixes your car.
We call those infomercials.
Yeah, but this was a specific one. The guy was from like Europe. I'll have to find out what that was called as well. Lowell the intern out of the building until a week. Next Wednesday, I'm Lawton Swan signing off as always. Y'all take care now. And go Tigers!
Does your water have a bad taste and odor, high content of chlorinating chemicals, and hardness? Then call the plumbing pros at Metz Plumbing for a free water analysis. Metz Plumbing is the exclusive dealer for Connecticut Water Systems, the best drinking water system in the world.
732-DRIP. Love it raw? For the freshest sushi in town, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, 807 Gervais Street in the Vista. Sakatumi's flavorful grill for non-sushi fans features the Kobe burger, filet and lobster, chicken hibachi, and more. Fresh sushi, flavorful grill, Sakatumi Grill and Sushi Bar, sakifresh.com.
Skip the hotel and stay in a Rent Like a Champion vacation home on your visit to Clemson. Rent Like a Champion, as featured on ABC's Shark Tank, has dozens of homes available that will allow you to stay with family and friends under one roof, tailgate in your own backyard, and walk to Death Valley to watch the Tigers. It doesn't matter your group size, Rent Like a Champion has affordable options for your Clemson weekend. Reserve your game day home today. Call 855-BIG-GAME.
Custom shirts, hats, or uniforms? How about promotional giveaways for your business or organization? Need fast turnaround times? Look no further than Meridian Printing and Promotions. Located in Lexington, they provide an in-house art department, in-house screen printing, and in-house embroidery services to the Midlands and beyond. For the absolute best quality products and services, contact Meridian Printing and Promotions, 785-4990. Check them out online, mbspromo.com.
We invite you to come visit the Caribbean Resort along the shores of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Gaze upon breathtaking views of the Atlantic Ocean from one of the Caribbean Resort's exquisite accommodations. With an array of sizes and layouts to choose from, and designed with all the comforts of home, guests can bask in the sun on our expansive oceanfront pool deck, take a dip in any of our indoor and outdoor water amenities, and race down our oceanfront water slide. The Caribbean Resort has everything you need, so book your next vacation today.
If you're searching for an amazing dental home, you should try Cottingham Family Dentistry. They're accepting new patients at their 6420 Garners Ferry Road office. Edith says when she visits Dr. Cottingham, she knows that she'll be well taken care of, whether it's a scheduled appointment or an emergency visit. Bob writes that his wife is recovering from a stroke and not very mobile. At her appointment, the treatment and consideration she received was outstanding from the hygienist and Dr. Cottingham. Call Cottingham Family Dentistry at 776-4234.
ADT presents What to Consider When Considering Home Security. An ADT sign is more than a sign. It's a line in the sand. On one side, your family. On the other, an uncertain world.
For over 140 years, more people have chosen ADT to help prevent crime than anyone else. Get ADT starting at just $28.99 a month.
Tested, trusted, proven ADT.
With 36-month contract for licensing and terms and conditions, visit ADT.com.
For the first time in over a decade, don't miss the opportunity to see Aladdin, presented by the Columbia City Ballet. One weekend only, January 29th and 30th, at the Koger Center. For tickets, call 251-2222. Aladdin.
At highway speeds, the average text takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. That's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop texts, stopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
From the TrueCar.com studios, the new way to buy a car. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400, WCOS Columbia. Available anywhere you go on the iHeart Radio.
Fox Sports Trending now.
Live from Los Angeles, I'm Tom Looney. Slaving over a hot microphone. Dallas Cowboys had a terrible year on the field in 2015, but owner Jerry Jones' bank account didn't suffer. The Cowboys ranked number 1 in the world on Forbes' annual list of most valuable franchises. Forbes used to be a financial magazine. Now they make lists. Cowboys and Yankees are the only American teams in the top 5. And
this is a real new beginning for me.
Oh, that's the newest member of the Atlanta Hawks, Dwight Howard.
As a great man told me, if you want to get back to the top, you got to go back to your roots. And
Dwight Howard is from Atlanta. He signed with the Hawks recently. The chatter online all day has been that Russell Westbrook could be traded by the Oklahoma City Thunder sooner rather than later. Developing hot, ... And I'm Looney.
Hi, this is Dan O'Toole.
Hi, this is Jay Onright.
FS1.
The best station on the planet.
Look at me. Don't look at anybody else. You look at me!
To find FS1 on your television, go to foxsports.com for details.
Hardcore Wednesday.
Go ahead and say it with me. Hardcore Wednesday.
Doesn't it feel good to give your opinion instead of asking a question, Zach?
It does.
JT and Looney never put up their feet.
Is this thing on?
All hardcore.